Hello from India, Mr. Maher. This humble Indian says Namaste. Now, I'm not here to tell you about an upgrade to your credit card plan. My cousin Padma may call you later. I'm just a fan, an ordinary fan. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm less than ordinary. I may be no Judge Judy, but I'm still fascinated by everything you say and how you say everything. You and others like you have convinced me that satirists must occupy the fourth estate. I mean, expecting mainstream media or whatever it is morphed into to be the fourth pillar of civilization current is like expecting a donut to be the fourth wheel of a car. There are some serious structural issues. Back in the 90s, they innovated with 24/7 news, and they sent their correspondents to war zones and jungles and O.J. Simpson's house, dangerous places where no one wanted to go. And they got first crack at news. Nowadays, American journalists, for the better part of the last 3.5 years, have been deciphering and then debating cryptic tweets that emanated at 4 in the morning. I mean, even you guys have to admit that he was feeding off on all that attention. He rode down that escalator, grabbing all the way, and by the time he got off, he was screaming, "Lock her up." But you know what? It's not even the structural issues that matter. The reason why mainstream media has become such a bad word is because you guys are unabashed about your political inclinations. Everyone wants to brand their truth as the most truthful. And as a corollary, everything else has to be fake news. Just look at this gem of a headline. Now, I don't care how liberal you are. That's not how that shit went down. That headline is a standard candle that I'm going to use to calibrate the full-on hippie end of my hypocrisy scale. The same headline on the crazy redneck end would read, "Papa's got a brand new bag." And that's where you guys step in, Mr. Maher, the satirists. You guys are the only political animals alive today who are okay to make fun of yourselves. You guys need to occupy the center of the scale. Mr. Maher, do not think of me as a fan. Think of me as a convert to your church of these are the facts, this is a joke, and now go your feelings. And I realize priority one for your church is clearly to prevent Orange is the New White House from coming back for a second season. But he's basically impeaching himself now. I mean, you guys have practiced for 3 years. This has to be the look mom, no hands version of impeachment for you guys. Because trust me guys, 23 and you are not taking on him if there's another election. Maybe you guys need a new hobby. And I realize India is literally on the other side of the world. And Mr. Maher, even you said yourself that even if you did have a bucket list, that visiting India wouldn't be on it. But for the sake of the guys who invented 420, 5,000 years before April and 20 were even things, I request you give this humble Indian a hearing at your church.
Fuck yeah.
And I think what I have to say matters to your church of liberals and hippies and even the PC guys, because the underlying theme relates to the one thing that lets them be them. Democracy. Of the people, for the people, and in 2019 by Mark Zuckerberg. American liberals, a shout out to you guys from the metaphorical altar at the Church of Bill Maher. I think you guys have done some pretty awesome shit. Because of you, women all over the world have rights today that their mothers did not have the right to even ask for.
Thank you.
Because of you, Grindr isn't a place where you send gay people to dismiss them from God's good earth. And the conservatives among you, I mean, they were clear all along that it was always about the oil. But you liberals hung around and exported your ideas, along with the drilling equipment, the evangelists, and the golden arches. I think India should matter to you guys more than it does. At least Nigeria gets pity tweets. We get nothing. We are a functioning democracy of 1.3 billion people. You children of Abraham have only one God, and still you guys want to kill each other all the time. In India, 1 billion+ people and 1 million+ gods have to live together, densely packed in the tropical heat with the dust and the humidity and the livestock. And still, India works. Because of us, 17% of the world's population have universal adult franchise, are guaranteed fundamental rights, and are innocent until proven guilty. Because of us, 300 million people, the entire population of the United States, has been lifted out of extreme poverty in less than a generation. Now, I'm not saying we're a perfect democracy. I mean, there's obviously no such thing as a perfect democracy or a perfect call. Gross violations of human rights happen in India every day. But hey, even mature democracies have violated my human rights by making me never be able to unsee this image again. In 7 decades, India has seen the genocide of some people and the emancipation of others and everything in between. And yet, we did not break apart like the Balkans. And that alone should count for a lot. But if your reaction is meh, let me try to explain to you guys why you need to give more than you do. And I'll start by invoking America's favorite Asian bad boy, seen here looking for wabbits in the demilitarized zone. I've seen Americans get paranoid about North Korean nukes. I mean, this whole will they, won't they thing between Trump and Kim, it's cute and all, but Kim's not going to bomb himself. From what I hear, he's got a very sweet deal up there in North Korea. The nukes that you guys should be worrying about, they lie with our dear neighbors to the west. And while on paper, Pakistan too is a democracy. The first and only civilian government to complete a full term in office in Pakistan did so in 2016. 66 years after the country was declared a democracy. And because of them, 200 million people have had an unelected general as their supreme leader for 33 out of the 70 odd years of the country's existence. Because of them, 3 million people were ethnically cleansed from what is Bangladesh today. Because of them, people from all over the world can fly down to Pakistan and get a doctoral degree in jihad. Pakistan literally export terrorism to the world. Just look at this short clip to see what they've done to turn their financial institutions into a money laundering service for would-be terror financiers the world over.
The money, dollar bill, y'all. Cash rules everything around me. Get the money, dollar bill, y'all. Grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job at second hand. My mom's bounced on old man. So then we moved to Shaolin land, a young youth. We're rocking the gold tooth with no loose. The only way I would get the G off was drug looting. Let's start it like this one and
What the FATF, Pakistan? Enough has already been said about America's role in stoking the jihadi movement in Afghanistan in the 80s. But when the Russians did not want to play anymore, Pakistan inherited these elements. And today they use them as a paramilitary reserve force to extend their sphere of influence in Afghanistan and Iran and India, primarily, but not solely through Kashmir. India has struggled with terrorist attacks on its soil for decades before any plane hit any tower. Remember that Osama thing they did with you guys, where they hid him in a safe house while taking billions of dollars from you to look for him in Afghanistan? They did that to us in the 90s. Meet Dawood Ibrahim. He is wanted for a series of 13 blasts that rocked the city of Mumbai in 1993. It's an open secret that he lives in the Pakistani city of Karachi, supported by none less than the ISI. And I can go on and on about Pakistan's blatant lying. But their Prime Minister gave a speech at the United Nations General Assembly recently, corroborating everything I just said. They think they can normalize past naughtiness by confessing to everything on live TV. Pakistan are to terrorism what Donald Trump is to impeachable offenses. And I know this is starting to sound like a rant, But here's a bit of trivia for you guys. Faith, piety, and jihad in the name of Allah is the slogan of the Pakistan army. And Pakistan are obsessed with us, starting from when both the countries were born way back in 1947. Pakistan was created citing something called the two-nation theory, which simplified states that the Muslims of the subcontinent cannot live in harmony with the other communities and deserve their own homeland. India, on the other hand, is a secular nation where all communities live together in harmony. From Pakistan's perspective, India's very existence puts a lie to the two-nation theory and to the very idea of Pakistan. From India's perspective, our success is the success of secularism and liberalism and everything that you liberals espouse. Remember, I told you guys there were fucks to be given? Well, get your middle fingers warmed up, because we're about to enter Kashmir. Now, Kashmir is where the 7-decade-long debate on the two-nation theory plays out every day in one of the most militarized zones that you've probably not heard of. It has been in Pakistan's best interest to keep this wound open and festering, and they have channelized billions of dollars to turn one of the most beautiful places in the world into a terror-infested hellhole. Recently, on the 5th of August 2019, the Indian government, in a series of bold and decisive steps, cauterized the wound that is Kashmir. Any escalation by Pakistan here is as archduke as it can get in this century. A bunch of crazies have their paws on the nuclear button right now, and you may choose to check in by commenting F in the comment section below. Look, I know I started this telling you guys I was going to talk about India and ended up talking mostly about Pakistan, but I'm just doing an introduction mean girl style. I mean, you guys don't have to like us right away, just don't hang out with the Pakistanis. All of India has this warm, cozy feeling after what happened in Kashmir on the 5th of August. But listening to Betty or Bernie makes us feel like we just peed in the pool or something. Here's a new rule for American liberals.
And finally, new rule.
Americans who tell India that our actions in Kashmir are excessive are not allowed to get PTSD every September, 2 decades and 2 invasions later. I mean, you liberals are so right-wing phobic, I'm sure even your cars scream fascism, fascism every time you signal a right turn. But my contention is, it doesn't matter if you're left or right or over or under. What matters is the context. And in the given context, liberals the world over need to stand with India. It's not just on the issue of Kashmir where you guys need to stand with India. Remember that 9-minute Obama speech you guys were comparing with Trump's 50-minute rant? Well, there's a similar side-by-side comparison of the speeches given by the Indian Prime Minister and his Pakistani counterpart at the UN General Assembly. That's all the stuff that you guys really care about. Mr. Maher, I know you've said that ageism is the last acceptable prejudice in America, but the part of the world where I come from, we fall at the feet of wise old men. In subsequent episodes, I hope to tell you guys about the tectonic changes that are happening in India and how it's going to impact you. Till the next episode, take care, Mr. Maher. You guys continue to occupy the 4th estate.
I can't believe the news today. Oh, I can't close my eyes and make it go away. How long must we sing this song?
Rolling. Action.
Hello from India, Mr. Maher. Shit. Stop. Start again.